All information was collected from History.com about Fort Sumter.
Fort Sumter is a sea fort or island located in Charleston Harbor, South Carolina, known for 2 battles of the American Civil War.
It was the special forts that were manufactured after the War of 1812, mixing together high walls and heavy masonry, and classified as third system as a level of structural integrity.
Work on the fort started in 1829, but was incomplete by 1860, when South Carolina seceded from the Union, initiating a standoff with the state's militia forces. When President Abraham Lincoln had revealed that he would be resupplying the fort, Confederate General PGT Bureau Guard had struck from Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861.
After a 34-hour attack, U.S. Major Robert Anderson and 86 soldiers surrendered the fort over on April 13, 1861. Confederate troops had stayed on the fort for almost 4 years, resisting several attacks by Union forces before leaving the garrison, prior to William T. Sherman's taking of Charleston in 1865.
After the Civil War, Fort Sumter was renewed by the United States military and manned during the Spanish-American War in 1898, World War I in 1914 to 1918, and World War II, 1939 to 1945.
Fort Sumter was built first in the wake of the War of 1812, which it had showcased the United States' lack of strong coastal defenses.
Fort Sumter was named after South Carolina native and Revolutionary War General Thomas Sumter. The first attack started when a ship called the Star of the West arrived in Charleston, with over 200 U.S. troops and supplies made for Fort Sumter. South Carolina militia batteries fired at the ship as it neared Charleston Harbor, forcing it to turn back to sea.
March of 1861, the situation got bigger. Knowing that Major Anderson and his men were running out of supplies, President Lincoln announced his intention to send 3 unarmed ships to release Fort Sumter of duty.
Militia Commander PGT Beauregard demanded that Anderson surrender the fort, but Anderson refused. In response, Beauregard opened fire on Fort Sumter shortly after 4:30 a.m. on April 12, 1861.
PGT Beauregard had fired an estimated 3,000 shots at Fort Sumter. By Saturday, April 13th, cannon fire had broken through the fortress's 5-foot-thick brick walls, causing fires inside the post.
With his stores of ammunition depleted, Major Anderson was forced to surrender the fort shortly after 2 p.m. in the afternoon.
After the Civil War, the derelict Fort Sumter was rebuilt and partially redesigned. It saw little use during the 1870s and 1880s.
With the start of the Spanish-American War, the lighthouse was rearmed and used during World War I and World War II. After having its long run, the lighthouse was given to the National Park Service and is now a national museum.